Welcome to the How You Got Started podcast, dedicated to helping you find your passions by hearing stories of entrepreneurs that are living theirs. Today, we're speaking with Dr. Cindy Ward, a manufacturer of Dr. Ward's Fresh Mist. Today, her phones are blowing up because she just recently appeared on Dragon's Den. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to have this conversation with you today.
Yes, you must be just bubbly and so excited. Tell me more about why you got started, why Dr. Ward's Fresh Mist.
It's a bit of a story. I'm a bit of a lifelong entrepreneur. I'm sure we can get into that. But during the pandemic, I really hated wearing my stinky face mask. And I'm a problem solver. So one day I'm chewing gum and I had to throw it out, and I folded it into my face mask. And then when I had to go into the bathroom and put my mask on, it smelled better. And I thought, well, that is something wonderful. So then I started experimenting. What happened is I discovered that essential oils, when diluted, could mist to the inside of your mask and give you safe breathing, as well as a nice, clean, antibacterial, deodorized face mask. So that's how it all started. And then I ended up turning it into all natural air fresheners. And now I have 10 product lines.
Wow. And you said you were a serial entrepreneur, or you've been an entrepreneur from the beginning. Tell me more about your journey and some of the experiences you had. I was going to say failures, but nothing's ever really a failure.
I've never lost money.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yes, yeah. And I guess the key is to know when to get out.
Okay, yeah. Tell me more about your journey to where you are.
Well, I started as a young kid babysitting. When I was, I had to think about this quite a bit. When I was 3, I was adopted. And I think it made me realize that I needed to be independent. And when I was 10, I started babysitting. I always wanted my own money. Since I was 10 years old, I used to buy all the kids' grocery gifts or Christmas gifts from my own money. I've run sandwich shops and tuck shops, and I've done woodworking that I sell, and I was part of Junior Achievement when I was young, and I was the president of my company both times. And then as I got older, I did start, work in, traditional jobs. I worked for the government. I got my stockbroker's license and worked as a stockbroker. But then I always found my way back into wanting to pursue my own interests. So then I've been interested in music and restaurants for a long time, so I opened the Boathouse in Kitchener's Victoria Park in 2004. And that started an era of the Boathouse, which I'm pretty proud of. But 2 years into it, I did have my son, and I decided to sell. That's when I went back to school, and I was in school for a long time. So 9 years to get my bachelor's, master's, and PhD.
Wow.
So coming out of that and struggling in the job market as an older person, I started looking again to entrepreneurial ventures. And so that's a little bit of a history there.
And so tell me a little bit about the steps you had to take to get your product from conception to actual, this product line you have today.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned earlier failures. And so what ends up happening when you're developing a product is you get a lot of failures. It's like cooking a tomato sauce, putting in too much salt and realizing that it's terrible.
Yes.
And then having to start over.
Guilty.
Guilty. So with my Fresh Mists, my background in restaurants and cooking and, cocktails helped me develop this formula. But it was during the pandemic, and so I brought my neighbor over. And so here we are in my kitchen, 6 feet apart. Smell this. No, you smell it. Should we add more citrus? Should we add more, lavender? So this was the back and forth process.
Yeah.
And then I had to figure out how to label the bottles. Then I had to figure out how to do graphic design. And I only worked at PowerPoint at the time. So that was a bit of fun because then I was working with a graphic designer and I said to him, listen, can you please do everything in PowerPoint? He's like, no, I hate PowerPoint. It's like, well, at least whatever it is that you do, can you then put it in PowerPoint so I can do some edits? Because we had to work from a distance. We couldn't sit next to each other. So I went through probably 8 label iterations.
That's interesting. Did the designer help you? How did you know this is it? This is the one?
This is the one. Well, so I've worked with a couple graphic designers, and then the second graphic designer I worked with has a very clean aesthetic. And so she developed a label based on how we thought words and color and information should flow. But of course, I was doing the background research on compliance. So there's a lot of Canadian labeling laws. Selling in the United States requires American labeling laws, which are a little bit different. And even if I was to sell to Europe. So I wanted to get a lot of research done on labeling. So between the two of us, aesthetics still had to require, legal information. And so we were able to work together back and forth, and we worked in Canva, to be honest, because she could go in and make edits, like copy the file, label it with edits, and then I could go in and say, I could, copy or duplicate pages and then put in my ideas. And then my ideas were never as attractive because my aesthetic is a little 70s, I guess. But that's how we came up with these fun iterations. And it's been a long process, and I still want to change the labels again.
Oh, that's funny. So tell me a little bit about your product. You have a lot of different uses for similar scents.
For similar scents. Yeah. So let me just show you what I have.
Okay.
So this is my Berrymint fabric spray. So this is almost the same formula as my mask spray. I've made this one a little more concentrated because when you're spraying in your mask and putting it like this, you want a nice light scent that dissipates. But it's the same 5 scents. So I have mint, Berrymint, Forrest with 2 R's, named after my son. I have lavender, which has a hint of lemongrass in it, and then I have a citrus blend, which has lemongrass, bergamot, blood orange, pink grapefruit. Litsia cubeba, and they all have eucalyptus. So developing these scents was the first step. They're all antibacterial, antifungal, because that's what essential oils do. And so if I'm spraying my fabrics, oh look,
my goodness.
Even if I can spray it right into my mouth.
Oh.
I did that on Dragon's Den too, which was fun. It's a little minty. I wouldn't want to do the lavender in my mouth though.
Oh. Well.
But this is the uses. And so you have a Berrymint fabric. And it would be nice to have a Dr. Ward's Fresh Mist spray that everywhere, just like Frank's Red Hot spray that everywhere. Because you can. However, as a social scientist, I realize that sometimes people need to be reminded of how to use products. Not everyone wants to use toilet cleaner in their sink. Because it gives them the icky feeling, like there's a psychological barrier there. But a toilet cleaner is still a cleaner, and you can use it to clean your sink, but people don't. So this is why I developed 10 product lines. So I have a body spray, I have a face mask spray, the Berrymint fabric spray, yoga for your yoga mats. It also keeps them nice and supple, and they don't dry out like an alcohol-based product would do.
Oh, nice.
And then I have an athletic mist because people's boxing gloves or hockey skates get really rancid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so that's the athletic line. I also have a bra and denim spray, so it's good for all your unders, so you don't have to throw them in the washing machine all the time. It refreshes them. Then they're not stinky. They smell clean and wonderful. Let me think now. I also have a car spray, and I also have a bathroom spray. And I also have a laundry spray.
Wow. Amazing. And they're all in different bottles depending on, and I'm assuming a little bit of different concentrations depending on
Yeah.
the use.
Well, nobody wants a car spray this big.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous to put that in your console. So I do have travel sizes.
Okay.
Speaking of travel sizes, people like to bring it with them when they travel, spray their pillows and their bedding, just to make sure, we're never quite sure how an Airbnb is laundering their stuff.
Yes. During COVID, if we went to a hotel, we would bring Lysol spray and we would spray everything just to kill, anything that was left over and not cleaned up. But I'm assuming that maybe fresh mist is a healthier choice. Tell me more about that.
Absolutely. I'm shocked to hear. But you're not the only one.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't, Mr. Poof Trump down there tell people to rinse their mouths out with bleach?
Oh, gosh.
Something like that. Unfortunately, those sprays are really just putting chemical pollutants into your air. And so, sure, they're killing. But I mean, imagine if they're killing that, what are they doing to you? And that's the frustrating part. I mean, even traditional chemical air fresheners, I can't believe that they're allowed on the market. I'm surprised that research hasn't shown long-term effects, of cancer and things of that nature. But plant oils, when they're concentrated, it's like taking a spearmint leaf or a lavender leaf and just squeezing the crap out of it like a grape and getting a pure essential oil out of that. The concentrate kills bacteria and kills fungus. So when you think about ancient Egypt, when you think about ancient Roman times, they used essential oils. They used them to embalm bodies, but they used them in surgeries. So I understand why people would use products like that. Everyone is concerned about health and safety. And I think the pandemic really brought to light concerns of this sort. However, essential oils really are nature's oldest medicines. They do all the cleaning that we need. And then it keeps us natural and it keeps our biology in sync, because the moment I'm breathing in a chemical of that sort, my body is going to overreact. So yes, I would have suggested Dr. Ward's Fresh Mist and spray your pillows and your sheets, and you can clean your counters with it. Spray the air, the curtains, the carpets, stinky shoes, everything in your life. I clean my sinks with it. I clean my toilets with it. I give everything a wipe. And so it's killing bacteria and fungus. And then what it's leaving behind is not a chemical perfumed fragrance. You're getting real nature. You're getting the smell of real spearmint. You're getting the smell of real lavender, real, Litsea cubeba, real oranges. So to me, it's a win-win, because then our olfactory senses, which are part of our old brain, and we know how important smell is for calming, aromatherapy, right? But our brains recognize those smells instantly as nature, and they're very pleasing.
Amazing. Tell me more about your most recent visit to Dragon's Den.
Okay. Well, Dragon's Den, as I'm wearing the t-shirt, was a very long process. So I've been developing Dr. Ward's Fresh Mist for 4 years. And at around year 2, just before year 2, I realized how fast this was growing. And I wanted to expand. I want to be on every store shelf right next to Febreze. I want to be the natural choice. And so I needed venture capital. And so I started hitting the streets, and I hang around Communitech. I know the people over at 137 Glasgow. That's where I met you. And I've been involved in the city of Kitchener-Waterloo small business for many years. So I started asking people, where can I pitch? Where can I pitch my idea? And the problem is that we do a lot of pitching opportunities for technology companies. But for real products, pitching opportunities are few and far between. Actually, they don't really exist in this area. And so a friend of mine suggested, just off the cuff, it was an accident, well, I don't really know where you can go. Why don't you try Dragon's Den? And I thought, well, there's an idea. Like, why not? Right? So I thought to myself, I'm just going to film myself in my workshop here and send in my audition video and fill out the application, and let's give this a try. It took a year, the whole process, but they did call me in for second auditions. They were very impressed that I had 10 product lines already. Loved the product, loved the origin story. And so my filming was done in May of 2023.
Oh, wow.
On May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. So, but now here we are in January, as at the time of this conversation, and it's been 8 months and it's been quite the journey, but tonight is the actual airing date.
Unbelievable. You must be so excited.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Are you doing anything special?
We are having a viewing party at a local brewery, TWB Brewery on Mill Street. So I put out all the invitations. It's an open invitation. You guys are welcome to come. And, you know, my family and friends that have sort of watched me struggle through this very long journey.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really cool to just enjoy the moment and watch the show, play some music, and have a beer.
Amazing. Tell me a little bit more about those struggles.
Well, I'm 55, about to turn 56 years old. You know, I mentioned earlier about owning a restaurant, live music venue, and I did try a small woodworking company because I do love working with wood. But it's really, really hard to get out into the world with new inventions. At one point, after having my son, having sold the boathouse, I decided to go back to school and pursue my interests in social psychology. I'm very interested in people. I'm very interested in our social world. What is the makeup of culture? What does that mean? How do we behave with each other socially? Our self-identities and things of this nature, just what life is about. And I really got involved in the university world. I started participating in real research projects as a grad student, how to get people to choose environmentally friendlier behavior with Sustainable Waterloo Region. And I graduated with a lot of experience with my PhD 9 years later. And I thought, this is great. Okay, I'm going to go out into the world and I'm going to make a difference and I'm going to get out there. And I just found some real struggles at my age, trying to get people to want to employ me.
Wow.
And that was tough. That was tough. I sunk to some really low lows during those times. And when the pandemic first hit, I looked around the world falling apart around me and I went, wow, everyone's just as miserable as me. I'm actually not doing so bad, I guess. I found it so interesting. I mean, it was hard. It was hard on everyone, and that's a tragedy. But it certainly gave me an opportunity to rethink my values in life and to rethink, like I had that opportunity to stop and slow down. Absolutely. And process what was happening to the world, but also, where was I in my life? And I don't think I would have started this business if it wasn't for the pandemic, because the learning curve was huge on Canadian compliance laws and, trying to figure out how to navigate Amazon, my own website. If I didn't have nothing to do all day, I wouldn't have taken the time to learn all of that. Wow. Because it was quite a struggle. And I forget what your original question was.
It was, what were some of your struggles? And it sounds like they were, well, all of the things of starting a business, but it's almost like you turned the struggle part into an opportunity.
I think it turned itself a little bit. I mean, sure, I have a bit of a resilience. I mean, what are you going to do? Give up?
Yeah, where does that resilience come from? Like, what is the process that happens to you when you're like, okay, I'm down, but I guess that's it. Like, it's a mindset.
There's nothing wrong with having some down days, some down weeks, or a down month, but at some point you just have to start doing something again. I mean, even if you get up to do the dishes or do the laundry or, I'm a single mom, so my son, Forrest, I have to be...
It's a beautiful name.
A good person. I have to be a good person for them. Right? I don't want them to see... I don't mind them seeing me struggle. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But at the end of the day, you have to behave and act in a way that inspires them too, right? And maybe it's from, when you get a lot of hard knocks in life. I mean, everyone goes through hard knocks. Mine started very early in life with being adopted. Yeah, I think that's what that is just realizing you can't give up. I mean, what's the giving up? Like, I mean, do I go down that route? Like, I mean, I see people walking the streets, and I see people in tent city, and I see homeless people. And someone asked me a long time ago, do you think those people have any hope? I said, well, if they didn't, they'd be dead. They would have offed themselves, right? But surely there's hope.
Yeah.
They're carrying on. Something's going to change, or at least they hope so, right? Hope is a very interesting construct.
It is, yeah.
And I think it's different than optimism. Hope is diffuse. It's in the back of our mind. And I have it, I guess. I've stayed hopeful.
Yeah.
Here we are today. I was on Dragon's Den.
Cool.
And only good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Amazing. What are some of the things that you are most excited about coming up?
Well, I want to have some fun in life, and part of my PhD thesis was doing research in this interesting field called the willingness to sacrifice for the future. So if you're a believer in change, you're usually willing to sacrifice now, thinking and believing that there's going to be a better future. If you're not really one to believe that change can happen, if you're sort of that mindset that things are the same and they're going to stay the same, we have a tendency to not sacrifice for the future. You live for the moment. It's kind of like the ant and the grasshopper. But I'm a huge change believer, and I've been willing to sacrifice. I feel like, it's not like I haven't had fun in life, because I have. But, but we do go through these moments like a pendulum. And I've put a lot of hard work in these last 4 years. Did I pack a Kleenex? And this is the fun part, right? So
This is the harvest.
Yeah. Well, there's things I want to do. I want to be a philanthropist. I want to be out in the world helping other people also fulfill their dreams, right? So I think, all these years is going to allow me, hopefully, that I can take everything that I'm achieving and turn around and collaborate and help others as I go. And that, to me, is the fun part. So
Absolutely. We talked about that, how you said that it seems that I'm a giver and that you're a giver.
Right.
And it's because there's something about humanity where you want to help people. I feel like when you have had struggles, especially from younger on, you know how tough life can be.
Yeah.
And you feel for people.
Yeah.
Because, we're all just trying to survive on this little planet during this, whatever this life.
Yeah, whatever this life is. Yeah.
And I think that when you give to people, you're giving to yourself. It's like this reciprocal thing. And I think it's a wonderful way to live. I'm excited for you.
Well, thank you. I would agree with you. There's John Helliwell, who is one of the major authors of the World Happiness Report, which has been going out through, it's a United Nations document that they compile about happiness, around the world and all the countries. It ended up doing a research term with his son's company, and I got to meet John. But John's a believer that we get the most satisfaction out of life when we're doing things with others, for others. So it's one thing to say, what makes you happy?
Right.
It's like, oh, well, seeing my child grow makes me happy, or dancing or singing makes me happy. And those things are wonderful, and singing does make me happy. But when we're doing things with others, that increases our happiness and our life satisfaction. But when we're doing things with others, for others, then that was his hypothesis of what gave people the greatest happiness and life satisfaction. And I would agree.
Yeah, you're singing. that makes you happy. But if you're singing with a band, increased happiness. If you're singing with a band for an audience, increased.
Boom, there's heaven on earth.
Yeah.
I'll be singing tonight at my Dragon's Den viewing party.
Awesome.
I'm just going to do one song. I don't want to get too nervous, and it's a song that I'm familiar with all the lyrics, so I've been practicing.
Nice. Do you have any advice for any small businesses that are just starting out?
One of the interesting things is just take notes. Keep a list of the things that you need to do, but always remind yourself of the strengths that you have. Because we forget, it's like selling your art. You've done a painting, now you want to sell it. It's hard to sell your own work, so it's hard to sell yourself. But people want what you do. I mean, even if you make spaghetti sauce, it's weird to say to yourself, well, who wants to buy my spaghetti sauce? They can just make their own spaghetti sauce. But who's making their own spaghetti sauce? We're all buying spaghetti sauce in the grocery store. So yes, people want your spaghetti sauce. You're a good spaghetti sauce maker. It's delicious. Your label's cute. Like whatever your strengths are, keep a list of that and remind yourself that what you do is valuable. People want it, and just to keep believing in yourself.
I love that. Is there a life philosophy that you want to talk about?
So on Big Brother, which I like to watch, Julie Chen, this is the US version, she always says at the end of every episode, love one another. And I love that, but I'd like to take that one step further. We do live in a crazy, complicated world. And it's really sometimes hard just to understand each other and develop empathy for each other and walk in each other's shoes. And miscommunication happens all the time. And so because of that, I've always loved the phrase that comes from ancient Chinese wisdom, which is the truthful person I believe, and the liar I also believe. And therein lies truthfulness. So there's everyone has a little lie, everyone has a little truth. We just live the best life that we can. And that's really what truth is.
My brain's like thinking about it. That's interesting. Yeah, because I honestly do believe that we're all, we all make mistakes. And we all are just trying to do the best we can.
Absolutely.
There's the one saying I really like is, when you know better, you do better. But sometimes we don't know better. We have to sometimes fall and falter.
Yeah.
And then in that whole process, we're still trying to be the best version of ourselves, even when we fail.
Well, we all make mistakes. I mean, my son's 18 now, but growing up, we make mistakes when we speak. We sometimes don't even say what we mean to say.
Yes.
If we did, there'd be no divorce. We know that's not the case. Misunderstandings happen so easily. And it's like the telephone game with kids, where you start at one end and say, the monkey has a bare bottom. And then the kids go around and it comes out the other end, my mother bought some strawberry ice cream.
Yeah.
Like, what? Because we don't always say what we mean, and then the other person's ears don't always hear what we say. And so this is miscommunication. And it's just so normal. If we just loved each other, if we just gave each other a break.
Yeah, the benefit of the doubt.
The benefit of the doubt. Put a smile on with our neighbors, with the people in the coffee stores, the coffee shops, the grocery stores. I think we would just have a better world. Like John Lennon said, can't we give peace a chance?
Yeah, and I think where that comes from, I notice that when I misunderstand something, it's because I have fear within me. And that fear seems to be the view that I take of someone else's, what they're saying. And it's the fear. And then so I respond with a response that has maybe nothing to do with what the person was originally saying.
Right.
It's my own fear. So I'm hearing it through my own subconscious, fear lens.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah.
It's a very complicated world.
Yeah.
And I know that. And I know that it's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult for everybody. And if I can just, simplicity, parsimony, has always been a philosophy of my life. You know, my friends used to tease me when I was younger that I was the natural girl. You know, I never wanted to put hairspray in, or I never wanted to wear makeup. I just want to keep it simple. You know, I want to keep things as simple as possible, which is back to the philosophy of my product, which is really keeping it simple and using what nature gives us, right? So no chemicals whatsoever. Plants and water is all we need.
Yeah. Why hasn't somebody done this yet?
A lot of people invent things and they'd love to bring them to market. But it's always the David and Goliath situation, right? So it's very difficult to get some changes made. It's very difficult to break through, to sit on the shelf next to Febreze. Every SKU costs money to put on that shelf. Some stores might charge you $100,000 per SKU.
Wow.
Some stores, it's only $5,000. So imagine I have 10 product lines of 5 cents. That's at least 50 SKUs.
Wow.
So this is where investment, you know, capital investment is required. You know, to get into these stores, you need to have a $100,000 marketing or salesperson to offer the large stores, you know, the SKU money, the listing money. And so you need venture capital to bring your products to market. Thanks to the internet and online sales, small people can
absolutely
slowly try to break through. And it's not like there haven't been people that have created essential oil sprays. My scents are my signature blends. It's like the Coca-Cola recipe. I'm never gonna patent it because I never want anyone to know what it is. I do believe that if other people came up with products that are similar, they'd have to be a scientist like me. And I think they would struggle to find the right scent blend. I do have some secrets in my recipes, so I don't mind talking about it. My target audience isn't the essential oil buyer. You know, like that's the low-hanging fruit. That's they're the already convinced. They already know that essential oils are good for them. But everybody who makes an essential oil product is targeting that same person.
Right.
And I hate to say it, but in the consumer market of 100%, that's only 5% of the people. The other 95% of the traditional retail, the ones that aren't going to go to a specialty shop for an essential oil blend, that's the market that I'm targeting. I want people to walk into the grocery stores and see a natural product sitting right there next to Febreze. And that's the market that I'm going for, is traditional commercial retail.
So with your business, what would you say are 3 critical professions that keep your business going and make you successful?
Honestly, I can't do it alone. So I can stay small on my own, but really number 1 is people. A friend of mine who's older, jazz musician, he's retired, he gets CPP and his pension and stuff. And he says, I really need something to do. And so he works with me and does manufacturing. And I'm telling you, Richard works like crazy. And I love him for it. And he listens to his jazz and he bottles and labels. I have a neighbor that comes in and she started doing some marketing and some of the online administration. And so far, we're a really good team. So people, definitely number 1, I couldn't do it alone.
Yeah.
Another key aspect is marketing. Marketing's huge. I didn't realize how huge it was. I thought, I'm the old school. You take an ad out in the newspaper, the radio station.
Yeah.
So marketing's key.
Have changed.
I have learned so much.
Yes. I'm looking forward to seeing coming out soon.
Yeah, well, being on Dragon's Den is huge.
Huge.
It's like getting a 6-minute commercial on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have asked for anything better. And then I have the newspaper story that came out in the Record today. And so that's key. Yeah. So these help tremendously.
Absolutely.
And a third aspect is really just keeping a work-life balance. I think I learned during the pandemic that you don't have to be in a hurry. You know, if you just take a breath and slow down, then you can concentrate and move the worries out of your mind and just say, I'm looking at a spreadsheet right now, and I have to pay attention to this spreadsheet, and then I can work through it, even though it's difficult.
Yeah.
And then when I'm finished, I can say, okay, now I have to open Instagram and figure out how to link my Facebook account.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, slow down. I'm not in a hurry. The world's not going to end.
Yeah.
So I'd say those are my three
Amazing.
things. Yeah.
So what's your favorite smell? If you had to choose.
If I had to choose, citrus is my favorite.
Nice.
Yeah, I love them all though. And then when I'm at markets and people are doing the sniff test, they're like, ooh, I love that one. Ooh, I love that one. And I do offer a little 5-pack tester blend or tester flight. We call it a flight, like a beer flight.
Oh, yep.
I love them all. Forrest is beautiful. It smells like walking in a forest. It's named after my son. Mint, I love. Like in the summertime, someone taught me that if you spray it on your neck, your whole body just feels cool. Right? And they're all safe for your body, and they all have witch hazel. Lavender lemongrass is so beautiful, even though I'm not a huge lavender fan, but I just love that blend together. And Berrymint is a huge surprise. It smells like a minty bowl of strawberries, but super light. But I'm going to stick with citrus as my favorite.
Nice.
Yeah.
How can people find your product right now? Where are you located?
So right now I'm on Amazon Canada. I have an Amazon US, but that's coming. If you're a retailer and you want to buy in wholesale, if you want to buy in bulk, you can go on faire.com, FAIRE.com. My website is where I actually profit the most because Amazon takes a huge cut. So I would prefer that people go to my website, which is DRWARDS period, Dr. Ward's Fresh. .ca. And I'm on Instagram at Dr. Ward's Fresh. So that's where people can buy it. But in the local Kitchener-Waterloo area, I'm in Select Home Hardwares. I'm in Central Fresh Market. I'm in Play It Again Sports. I'm in Sportco on King Street. And so you can find it regionally around here.
Nice. It's nice when regional stores support regional small business.
It is.
Absolutely.
Home Hardware was amazing. I walked into their stores and I said, I'm going to be on Dragon's Den and I've made this amazing air freshening product. Can I put it on your shelves right next to Febreze? And they went, yes, you can.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I didn't have to go through that whole
Thank you, Home Hardware.
price per SKU.
Yeah, that's amazing. It has been lovely having you.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't wait to watch your Dragon's Den episode and to see how your business just takes off. Obviously, you've been doing well so far, but I feel like you're reaching that next level.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I always say there's nothing bad going to come of it. And being on your show has been wonderful. I really hope that other entrepreneurs get some inspiration. And I want to see your business take off too.
Thank you. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us. Remember to go to drwardsfresh.ca to get that 15% discount on all of our delicious smells and sprays. And I look forward to seeing you again. Check out some of my other videos. Thank you so much. Take care.